Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to arrange our faux, white rose and powder poppy arrangement. And with this one you've only got kind of these 6 stems, and normally with like ones that you might see of me, they are big foliage, you kind of quite dramatic. This is very pared back. It makes for the most beautiful gift, a lovely kind of, bedside table, dressing table arrangement. Or you could also add foliage if you have already got foliage at home, fresh foliage, or even, our faux kind of populus or eucalyptus would look lovely. I'm also going to be using our Flauton vase for this because it's got quite a nice narrow neck. So you are going to want something with a slightly narrow neck because there's not as many stems. It does need the support to hold it, otherwise they're all going to splay far too wide and not going to look very cohesive at all. So for the purpose of this, we are using our wax flower as if it is our foliage, because this is going to form the shape and the kind of basis. And you can see I've bent these around about a similar height to each other, maybe an inch in between it, so one slightly taller than the other. I'm just going to crisscross them over each other to form a nice simple shape to then fill in with our flowers and kind of nestle them throughout it so that it all kind of works really well together. Now, when I'm working with 2 of something or even 3 of something, it doesn't really matter the number. It's all about having them looking different to each other. So if I was to put these in at both exactly the same height, they're going to look too rigid. But if we take one of them down, suddenly they look a bit more natural. Problem is that they're both still staring at you, kind of looking at you. So when you're looking at it, the arrangement from the side, you're only going to see the sides. But if you're standing at it from the front, they're just a bit too front on. So just by very, very simply having one of them lower that looks one way and having one of them taller that looks the other way is really going to help this feel much more natural and just really authentic. And that's kind of the best way that I do it. So we've got this shorter stem, and this is going to go at one of the front of the vase. So I'm going to do it to this side, no preference, just because it is nearest to me. And just going to let that hang there. You don't really need to do much to these stems, but they are fully wide. If you do want them to stand up a little bit better, you can do, or likewise, if they need to droop a bit more, you can. The other one I'm leaving at full height because it's actually perfect height for this vase. So if I was to put that directly on top of the other rose, it's going to look really silly because the only other flowers we've got left are the 2 poppies. So you can have half your arrangement as roses and half as poppies. So I'm putting it on the opposite side to just balance it out. And again, having it face slightly the opposite direction. So it's feeling a bit more natural. And then with the 2 poppies, exactly the same principles apply. So we've got one shorter and one taller, and we're going to make sure that one faces one way and the other one faces the other way a bit. The other bits you've got on here are these lovely pods of like a natural Icelandic poppy where they're kind of just bursting. So you also want to pay attention to those in the placement of this. When you receive them, they'll be a bit more like straight and upright. So just spend a couple of seconds just wiggling them just to make them feel much more natural. And you can always tweak them once they're in because it's easier to kind of see where they fall. So this smaller one is going to go on the other side of this rose. Round about there. So you can see this bud has fallen on top of that rose, which I don't like. So just by very small little tweak, you can make it feel a bit more bouncy, and there's kind of like air that can fly through it. I once read this thing about butterflies being able to fly through your arrangement, and it always kind of sticks in the back of my mind, and a butterfly would have got stuck if they got in there. This one I'm leaving at full height, and again I'm going to have it on the opposite side, so somewhere around about there, and that might actually be okay, but I'll spin it around and have a little look. So I feel like this poppy and this rose are too close to each other, which you could probably see much earlier than I clocked it because I'm too busy chatting. So all we're going to do is just make sure that there's a bit more of a separation between them two. Something maybe like that, or bring that down a little bit, or both. Maybe let's use the bud to kind of fill it a little bit. Any of the kind of negative space where we haven't got something. Like that. So I've just kind of used them poppy buds to my advantage and pop them in kind of that middle bit, because we don't really want a flower to go right to the middle. We want the flowers to be on the outside to give you that volume and shape. So yeah, hopefully that's helped, and if you give it a go, I would love to see this in your homes, and thank you very much for watching.